Okay.
Action.
Actually, yeah, I have Professor Muller here. He's actually my accounting professor. He has a lengthy experience in the accounting field, even with auditing. And my first question for you, Professor, is what's your past profession, all your past professions?
Oh, okay. Started out in Price Waterhouse,
Okay.
New York City. Worked in audit, and then went to tax,
Okay.
international tax,
Okay.
office of 45th and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Then worked for a large Fortune 500 company, Harcourt Brace. Yeah, and they relocated me down here.
Okay.
Then I got a job after a number of years working there in auditing and tax, I got a job at GE Aerospace as a tax specialist in Daytona.
That's like with NASA?
Well, they currently merged with Lockheed Martin.
Oh, Lockheed
Back there,
Martin.
they were separate. They're right across from the racetrack.
Okay.
And they were doing a lot of government site work, and I was a tax specialist. They lost a big contract, let go half the firm, and I was working there for a couple of years, so I went out with that and started my own CPA firm. And I'd done that for a while and eventually got into teaching.
Okay, so what inspires you getting
To get into accounting?
into teaching?
Ah.
When you went into accounting businesses, did you ever have challenges where you had to fight through debt, help let's say business going in a loss, and you're doing their spreadsheets showing that they're going to net loss. Did you ever have to give your opinion on closing down like a firm?
No, but I had an experience with a
Okay.
client that was manufacturing a good piece of equipment. And they had a previous accountant that didn't know much else than ACG 2021.
Okay.
And they, when you're doing a business, you got to really be you got to be CPA to do these things, I think.
Yeah.
But according to managerial and cost accounting, the inventory is going to be more than just the cost of the materials you purchase to put your product together. It includes raw material, the cost of direct labor of putting your product together, and different types of cost, indirect cost that have to be allocated to the product. You'll learn that in managerial accounting. And that all goes into the cost of your product. Now, when you sell your product, you got to make sure that you're covering all your cost. The previous accountant only put down as a cost of products be the inventory, and that was it.
Yeah.
So they had no idea what the cost of their products were.
Okay.
So whenever they sold the products, they were losing money because they weren't covering all their cost. So they had six-figure losses when I went in there to help them out. And I looked over the books, started doing the books, and then I instructed the owners what they were doing wrong, and how to be doing it correctly, and how to look at their competitors. So pretty much gave them a quick rundown.
It's a big requirement, you as an accountant, to go over everything. Every piece of number, from the cost of goods, like we're learning right now, cost of goods, right?
Everything, yes.
Okay. So which enterprise resource planning system have you used?
What programs I use?
Yeah, for an example, as an auditor, did you have a set program that you had for a company? Did you have a set rules and requirement that you used to check off?
According to the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, there are guidelines for auditing. Basically, we come up with our audit program, steps that we must complete to complete an audit. And we go and fill out, we don't take responsibility for different steps in the program. and you use every resource available to you. One of the best things to use as an accountant is Excel, Access, Word for communication, 3 top Microsoft Office products that are essential for anyone entering into the field. I could give you some war stories about using them. For example, I was working per diem for an insurance company with 3 medical clinics, or 4 medical clinics actually. And they had about 15,000 checks going through each month. And I had to do the bank reconciliation. And this is back in the 90s. To reconcile a bank statement with over 10,000 checks would take a week or more.
10,000 checks.
A month.
Oh, wow.
On the average.
Reconciling meaning going through each and every...
Yeah, what is the outstanding checks that
Okay.
were written by the company that didn't clear the bank yet?
Oh, okay.
And there were about more, with all the members of the health insurance company, there's these checks going out to them and to the different doctors and everything.
Imagine now, with that Obamacare.
Yeah, so,
imagine how many.
This is how I did it back in the 90s. I went online, went to the bank's internet site, downloaded all the transactions for the past month, got it on an Excel sheet.
Oh, okay. So you transfer it over first.
That's right, from the bank.
And then you organize the formulas?
Well, not necessarily. I got all the checks listed on an Excel sheet. Then I went on the computer, went to the accounting program for the company, exported all the disbursements, all the checks that were paid out. And then I went and took the Excel sheets, imported them into Access, another Microsoft Office product. And I did what is called a query. I said to the Access, take a look at all the checks that were written by the company from the accounting program, compare it to all the checks that cleared the bank, 10,000 or more checks, and then make up a new report for every check that was written that did not clear the bank, make a report of the checks that didn't clear the outstanding checklist. I got it prepared within 15, 20 minutes with 2 cents off. And what usually take people weeks to do.
So you just,
Using the programs were phenomenal.
Even in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Word, how long? So, like pretty much you're saying if you would have got more than a couple cents off, that would have led you to another question. Like in auditing, like if one thing pops up, it's like a mushroom effect. You got to start checking everything.
Well, one of the concepts we learned in accounting was the concept of materiality. And works like this. How much of an error would a prudent investor all of a sudden say, you know what, I don't think I'm going to invest in this company because this error is too big. If you got a company that's making millions of dollars and is off by a couple of cents, no one's going to care about it. It's not material. You just pass on it. If it's 2 cents off, I'm not going to sweat it.
Exactly.
But if it's a large amount that's significant, that's when you look at it. Yeah. So, with 2 cents, a few cents off, it's not going to make that much difference.
So, what do you think is the biggest challenge accountants face today?
Oh, goodness. I think one of the things that are happening in accounting today, there is a accounting system that started over in Europe and North Africa called, we call it the International Financial Reporting Standards. They were trying to come up with an accounting system that they can use in other countries. They look at what we've been using for the last 80 years with about 30,000 pages of documents and everything of the basic rules and all the different principles that came from it and everything else. Or principles where the rules came from out of that. And they thought it was a little bit too hard to learn. So they came up with something very simplified.
International reporting standards.
Yes, International Financial Reporting Standards. And I think it's substandard because they say use your own judgment many times. And as we've seen from Enron and other places, judgment can be faulty.
That's why it's good to have a standard that's the whole world.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Well, that one was sweeping the Europe and other places. So they decided in the last 6-7 years to have it converge into GAAP over here, which I think is, it's not the healthiest thing. Hopefully, it's learning more from GAAP than relearning from it. But large corporations here, global
They set up
corporations,
overseas, yeah.
they are required to use
That, okay.
that
So that's the
convergence.
challenge right there. Okay.
Yeah, that's the big challenge.
That, you talk about multi-billion, like Trump, for example, our president.
I'm talking
Like
about
those taxes,
ExxonMobil.
his taxes, he didn't want to show. Does it, you think that has something to do with his accounting?
No,
department?
it's all the companies like
You think he's trying to
ExxonMobil.
hide something as an auditor?
No.
Like,
You know what, as an auditor,
Uh-huh.
I would never suggest that any company is
he's trying to
hiding
hide
something
anything? You just,
until I
okay.
audit the company.
Okay, okay, so
Or
you're
another
saying
CPA does.
until
I'll give you an
you,
example
okay.
of one too.
okay,
One of the biggest CPA firms in the world used to be called Arthur Andersen. They had offices worldwide.
okay, they used to be auditors, okay.
And
CPA.
what one particular, and it was a really good one, they audited SeaWorld worldwide,
Okay.
around the United States too, and it
Uh-huh.
was really good company. What one particular small branch did
Uh-huh.
when they audited the company Enron,
Okay,
they found errors in their financial statement, big errors, significant errors, and they did not ask them to change it. And,
Oh, wow. Why you think, they paid him off?
no,
Maybe?
they were getting a fee for management consulting.
Oh, wow.
That was about back then, $50 million a year.
Uh-huh.
Auditing only netted about 30 million, so they didn't want to rock the boat on the 50.
Okay.
So they let it pass.
Okay.
So,
50 million?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the Securities Exchange Commission, finally they got exposed what
Yeah.
happened, and they,
So it's like even auditors have auditors.
the Securities Exchange Commission is in
Securities
charge
Exchange
of
Commission.
the audit accounting profession in the United States.
Okay.
We are one of the only countries to have a big agency of the government overseeing all accounting.
Okay.
And they took that global company,
Uh-huh.
and because of what one branch did,
Uh-huh.
they destroyed it.
The whole company.
The whole
I remember
global
you
company.
talked about that one
Yes.
time.
And
Remember
if you had a
that.
job in Australia for that
Yeah.
company, you lost your job after
Yeah,
that.
I remember you did say you did
Yeah,
talk about that
yeah.
last one time.
So
That's gotta suck. Over $50 million, they probably lost a multi-billion dollar.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how much were they, like at least a multi-billion dollar corporation, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Oil
even
company.
auditors, whatever income they make in their business.
That's
they're
right.
reporting.
That's right. So
Okay.
Sarbanes-Oxley came up by the
Okay.
Congress and sort of made some rules to
Okay.
straighten out all these
That's pretty
deficiencies.
interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
and then someone told me that a few subsequent court trials,
Mhm.
Arthur Andersen was cleared of malfeasance for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. But in any event, they're already destroyed at the time, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, it did, yeah. At that time, you already lost all your. Okay.
You lost the company. So
Well, sounds good.
it's an
Professor.
interesting field.
It
It's
is.
more than just counting beans.
Yeah, definitely. I like that man was talking about reality shows.
Yes.
Like he was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
they even make up shows on it. That's how. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty legit. If you want the best way to manage your own money is learn what accountants do. That's what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
If you could do it yourself,
Yes.
imagine how far you could get.
Now,
you
a
know?
step
Yeah.
further than that, if you're ever going to have your own business,
Yeah.
learn what is taught in managerial accounting.
Accounting, yeah,
Because that will
managerial.
teach you how to set sales prices,
Uh-huh.
how to compete with other
Like
companies.
profit markup, profit
Exactly. It
margin.
tells you everything you need to do to have a successful company.
Like, yeah, at least like 35% markup, 30%.
Whatever
like
the
that
markup
average
is, but
out.
you need to know what the total cost
Average,
is
yeah,
before
okay.
you mark it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it teaches you all of that.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, last minute thing, thank you so much.
That's
for,
okay.
excellent,